What is the true profession of faith in Islam, you might ask? The answer is beautifully articulated in the sacred verses of the Quran. Quranic verse 112, 1:4, "Say He is Allah who is one," underscores the foundational belief of Islam, the testimony there is no God but God, or la ilaha illallah, which stands as the true profession of faith in Islam. This powerful phrase, so straightforward yet so profound, affirms God's oneness and uniqueness. It's a testimonial that God Himself bears witness to, as stated in Quran 3:18, "God bears witness that there is no God but He." This is a testament to the purest form of monotheism, acknowledging only one true God. Moreover, the Quran, in verse 17:22, is explicit in its condemnation of associating any partners with God. "Set not up with Allah any other God, O man, lest thou sit down reproved, forsaken." It is clear-cut and unambiguous. There are no additions, no alterations. The faith is utterly and purely in the oneness of God, nothing and no one else. Therefore, the very core of faith in Islam is the firm affirmation of God's oneness, without any association. Now let's delve into the context of this profession of faith, specifically citing Surah Imran, the 3rd chapter of the Quran. Surah Imran serves as a profound source for comprehending the Islamic testimony of faith. The chapter richly elucidates the essence of monotheism, the central tenet of Islam, which is the assertion of God's singularity. It also emphasizes the importance of solely worshipping God, as illustrated in the verse, "Serve none but God." This verse distinctly underlines that no being, human or otherwise, should be worshipped or held in the same regard as God. This unwavering dedication to monotheism is a pivotal aspect of Islamic faith, echoed consistently throughout the Quran. In addition, Surah Imran strongly discourages the notion of recognizing humans as lords or authorities alongside God. The verse that we erect not from among ourselves lords other than God emphasizes that humans are not to be treated as divine entities, serving as a warning against idolatry and reinforcing the idea of God's oneness. Further, Surah Imran advocates the unity of all humanity under one God. The verse, "Come to a statement common between us and you," signifies a universal invitation to unity and harmony. It encourages all of mankind to unite on the common platform of belief in one God. The chapter also highlights the equal respect for all prophets, as emphasized in the verse, "We make no distinction between any of His messengers," an echo of the Islamic belief that all prophets, regardless of their time or place, delivered the consistent message of monotheism. Lastly, Surah Imran offers assurance of salvation for righteous individuals from all backgrounds with the verse, "Those who believe and those who are Jews and the Christians will have their reward." This verse communicates that righteousness is the key to salvation, irrespective of one's religious affiliation. Thus, Surah Imran provides a comprehensive understanding of the testimony of faith, emphasizing the oneness of God and unity of all people. The Prophet Muhammad played a pivotal role in upholding the principle of monotheism enshrined in the testimony, "There is no God but God." Delving deeper into the Quran and the Hadith, we find numerous instances where Prophet Muhammad upheld this testimony, despite facing severe ridicule and opposition. For example, the Prophet Muhammad faced significant mockery when he began to publicly preach the message of monotheism in Mecca, a city deeply entrenched in idolatry. During the incident of Taif, he was pelted with stones and was physically and verbally abused for propagating monotheism. Yet he persisted, highlighting his unyielding conviction. He also challenged the prevalent idol worship in Mecca directly during the conquest of Mecca, where he entered the Kaaba and, in a profound act of defiance against idolatry, cleared the holy shrine of all the idols that were being worshipped, thereby reinstating the Kaaba as a monument of monotheism. The Quran resonates with these instances, particularly in verse 41, 37 of Surah Fusilat, where it says, "Do not prostrate to the sun or to the moon, but prostrate to Allah who created them," which is a clear statement against idol worship. Furthermore, the Quranic verse 3:18 of Surah Al-Imran, "There is no God but He, that is the witness of Allah, His angels, and those endowed with knowledge," reiterates the importance of maintaining the purity of the testimony and serving Allah alone. Despite these clear teachings, however, some Muslims today still add holy names to this testimony. which subtly shifts the focus away from God's absolute oneness and dilutes the essence of the message. This practice contradicts the Quran's creed of pure monotheism as evidenced in verse 448 of Surah An-Nisa. Indeed, Allah does not forgive association with Him, but He forgives what is less than that for whom He wills. Therefore, the Prophet Muhammad, through his exemplary life, reinforced the core principle of God's oneness, challenged idol worship, and promoted pure monotheism. In conclusion, the testimony of faith in Islam is beautifully simple, yet profoundly powerful. This statement encapsulates the heart of the Islamic faith, anchoring a Muslim's belief system. It's not merely a phrase, but a declaration of faith, a pledge to monotheism, and an affirmation of the absolute oneness of God, as echoed in Quranic verses. As we recall our discussion, we started with the essence of Shahada, the testimony which states, "There is no God but God," a phrase resonating the profound concept of monotheism, a truth reverberated throughout the Quran, especially in verses like 2, 163 and 112, 1, 4. We then delved into the context provided by Surah, which accentuates the importance of worshipping God alone. This Surah warns against elevating humans to God's status and calls for unity around the concept of one God. It also assures salvation for the righteous, regardless of their religious background, as stated in verse 262. Our exploration then led us to the Prophet Muhammad's relationship with the testimony. Despite ridicule, the Prophet tenaciously upheld the simple yet powerful truth encapsulated in the phrase, "There is no God but God." He affirmed that all prophets before him taught the same truth about God's oneness, a truth that threatens idol worship, as emphasized in verses like 21-25. Regrettably, some Muslims today add holy names to the testimony, a practice that contradicts the Quran's creed of pure monotheism, exemplified in verses like 3:18. The Quranic Shahada, or testimony of faith, is just, "There is no God but God," without any added names. Surah Imran categorically condemns any alterations of this creed and invites everyone to unite the core Islamic principle of God's absolute oneness, as resonated in verses like 3:19. This is the central message of the Quranic testimony of faith. The profession of faith in Islam, therefore, is a testament to the oneness of God, a call for unity, and a promise of salvation for the righteous, irrespective of their background, as affirmed in verses like 2, 112. This is the powerful, profound, and beautifully simple essence of the Islamic faith, as elucidated through the Quranic verses we've discussed.